It is week number 3 of the Touring Car Challenge here on Friday prime time. Coverage brought to you by RaceSpotTV. Hello everybody, Happy New Year's Eve to everyone, and welcome on to the final RaceSpotTV broadcast of 2021. It is Friday prime time, and my name is Paul Smith. Joined with me in the commentary booth for this week only is VCO Simi commentator of the year award winner Arjuna Kankapati, and Arjuna, Touring Cars Silverstone National, it's a mix made in heaven.
Oh, and I mean, you think about the fireworks that are going to be going on later tonight when the ball drops. Fireworks here today. Touring cars, a bit of contact, that's what we're here to see. And the first 2 weeks of the championship have been spectacular. And not racing the full layout of Silverstone, I can't wait to see what we're in store for here tonight.
Well, what you are going to see is a lot of slipstream action around here today. And, well, this is certainly going to be a tremendous race. You're going to see some close action. You're going to see a little bit of bumper bashing as well. But that's what you expect here in the Touring Car Challenge. This is, of course, week 3 of the championship. We started off at Spa-Francorchamps. Then last week had tremendous racing at Knock Hill. Today, Silverstone with the national layout. The next week, we head on over to Knock Hill on the reverse layout. Yes, that really is a thing. Long Beach then follows that, with Summit Point being the halfway point of the season. Watkins Glen and then Oran Park with Lime Rock Park, Donington National, Alton Park to be the penultimate round of the championship, and we finish off March the 4th at Laguna Seca. It's a action-packed series. It is tremendous racing, and we see some really rapid drivers out there. Currently in qualifying, Will Folks leads that one by 1/10 of a second, or less than 1/10 of a second, over Naveed Hussain. The times are so close here, Arjuna, that there's 0.8 of a second covering 1st to 16th.
I mean, that's what we love about this series, right? Is that it's also fixed setup competition. There's no setup tweaks going on to suit the driver style. You get what you have with this car, and there are 3 choices of cars to make things a little bit more interesting, but it's all about extracting the maximum performance out of the car without those aids, of being able to adjust the car to your liking. That's what makes it fun. Just going back to the schedule, by the way, very quickly, Paul, I want to say, not kill reverse. It's great that that's a real thing, because you think about some of the open wheel tracks that Formula 1 goes to. You can't run those in reverse because safety-wise, they're just not up to the scratch. So not kill reverse, can't wait to see what's in store for us 7 days from now.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, the Motorsport UK, they do recognise that as a legitimate layout of Knock Hill, and so because of that you get it in iRacing as well. But it is a stacked grid here today. The average strength of field for today's race, for those of you interested, 4,706. We've got the 3 makes of car out there as well. We have got the Audi, we have got the Hyundai, which we're seeing driven by Spencer McCarthy there as he comes across the line to start a lap here in his geodesic sim racing colours as he goes through turn number 1. And of course we've got the Honda Civic, which it isn't the favoured car in this series, is the Honda. It's a little bit down on power and the back end can be a bit lively if you hit curbs wrong, but fortunately for those drivers in that car, the curbs, they're very flat here, so you can really throw this car about, and that Honda has been competitive around here this week.
They're flat curves, but sometimes you find the anti-cut curb on the inside is ready to greet you. Perfect example there, coming in towards Luffield. If you hit those wrong, those can very much spit you around, so you do need to be careful with that. The other thing about this short layout is the short lap times, which maybe doesn't hurt the Honda as much as it would on the full layout, because there's not as many straights as you would have in that full layout.
Absolutely not, but top speed does help around here as across the line goes Spencer up into 3rd place on the grid. So qualifying time is running out. Those of those drivers who are still out there just getting last minute practice. So we'll get you your starting grid in just a few moments time, but I can tell you the entire grid is covered by less than 1 second here today. It's a 2.64 kilometre track is Silverstone. Conditions, we're looking at partly cloudy sky, 25.5 degrees in the air and 32 on the track. But here is your starting grid. Will Folks and Naveed Hussain share that front row with Spencer McCarthy and Brandon Roseborough in the second row of the grid. Row number 3 is Will Redford and William McIntyre. Row number 4 then, Will Eatwell and Ted Bradbury, with Blake Neck and Dan Holland sharing row number 5. Row 6 for James Holman and Stephen Daly. Row 7 then for Will Orton and Mikel Garcia, with Jorge Zuniga, with Jake Ward as well joining him on the 8th row of the grid. Thomas Gibson, it's unusual to see him on the back row of the grid, and he's joined by Julian Ignacio Longo. So Arjuna, it's a close qualifying session. If people don't end up scrapping early on, it is only a 15-minute race, we could end up with an 18-car train all the way to the end.
Oh, that's what we want to see. And going back to the point about the relative strength of the Honda, Blake Neck has put that on 4th position, so watch out for him, clearly at home with the car, and we're ready for a standing start here.
Yeah, standing start now. You will see that Audi get a brilliant launch. The Audi really has got the advantage on the starts. The Hyundai and the Honda, pretty similar between the two of them. And there you see one of those Hyundais sharing the front row. Will Folks then, he is on pole position, but Naveed Hussain will be looking for a good launch off the start. We're getting ready for the start of week number 3 in the Touring Car Challenge here. Green flag in the air. And away we go then, and it is that typical good start by the Audi. On the inside, that front row, Naveed Hussain looking to take the lead into Copse Corner already, but around the outside goes Will Fox. Fox won't give this one up without a fight, and is joined by Spencer McCarthy. So the two Hyundais trying to crowd out the Audi here, and contact between the two of them. Naveed Hussain sends Will Fox around. He's off onto the Grand Prix loop there.
From pole to last, but that's how things go. Turn one was safe. It was that shortcut back onto the Wellington Straight where carnage ensued, and now side by side in towards the penultimate corner.
Yeah, it's Naveed Hussain, getting more contact this time from Spencer McCarthy. McCarthy's dropped down the field, then down to 5th place out of all that. Will Redford is the next one coming along. We said there was going to be a bit of paint swapping and a bit of bumping and barging, and unfortunately, we've been getting it right at the front of your field. But it is Hussain who leads this across the line. Will Redford 2nd, Brandon Rosberg 3rd, Ted Bradbury 4th ahead of William McIntyre. Spencer McCarthy down to 7th place. Dan Holland is up 2 places into 8th ahead of Will Orton. James Holman rounds out your top 10. You can just see this swarm of touring cars right now heading down towards Maggots and Beckett, and this is one of your overtaking opportunities. If you leave that wide line open, if you leave that inside line open, you don't need to be asked twice.
Oh, they're bumping and banging though. Roseborough wants to try and hold on. Momentum around the outside, but not enough speed. Ted Bradbury up to 3rd position. Will Eatwell, by the way, started back outside of the top 10. 8 positions gained so far. He's eating well here to start things off.
Yeah, he's certainly hungry. 3 wide through Brooklands, and Michael Garcia deciding that, let's get out of that one and not entice anything more. Bumping and barging going on. There's paint swapping going on here. If you ask kindly, you might be sent their paint. You don't need to try and rub it off, as Garcia now looking to try and get involved in this battle in towards Copse Corner once again. Little break down to a gear, down to 4th gear, run it out wide, not too far wide though, James. You may end up with a slowdown penalty if you go too far into the runoff area. Onto the brakes again into Maggots. Here's Thomas Gibson now.
There's a car around.
Yeah, there is, and there's a car coming up on the left-hand side here in a Honda, and that's Eatwell.
What happened then to the Honda there? There was just a big puff of smoke coming back through the tight right-hander, and he's dropped down to the edge of the top 10. He'll look to the inside of Thomas Gibson, who's still a long way away from where we expect him to be, but aggressive goes Eatwell, who go the long way around the final corner.
You can carry the speed out of Luffield. Here's what happened to Eatwell then. He's taken that wider line, it's opened up the inside. I mean, he was fortunate that he actually got pushed back around to be pointed in the right direction there, but that's the problem. If you take that wide line into Beckett, which is the quicker line in terms of your overall lap time, then it just leaves you open to attack, and you end up turning yourself on the front of the car on the inside.
And it does mean, I believe that was Spencer McCarthy that was bing-bonging himself down the inside. 3rd and 4th now split by about a second. All this fighting is great to see, but we know it's not the quickest way around the track. So for 4th on back, they need to get a move on. Short race here, still 11 minutes on the clock. Quite a few laps, but not much time to close up to the front and fight for the win.
Well, Blake Neck, I mean, here's another one who's dropped down the order at the start. He's dropped 4 positions in this race so far. Going around the outside of Brooklands is difficult to do. And look at that, through Luffield, you've got cars looking down the inside, around the outside as well. That's further down in your order. So that is the number 17 of Jorge Zuniga, as it goes around the outside, trying to get past Stephen Daly then, but not happening so far. Into Copse Corner they go. Your lead 3 have got that little bit of a breakaway, haven't they? Junior has more contact through Copse Corner. That's a high-speed corner to be making contact.
Just ask Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, all about that one. We won't go into that drama. Front 3 breaking away. Half a second separates them. 1.5 back to William McIntyre. This is where, if you're Ted Bradbury, you have to be patient. You have to realize that the opportunity will present itself, and while 4th and 5th continue to squabble it out down the Wellington Straight, you can't afford to bring these cars back into the mix.
And Spencer McCarthy, chopping off the nose then. That's cheeky from William McIntyre then. Brandon Roseborough going down the inside there, managed to get a nose in front in that Hyundai. The Audi now left hung out to dry because here comes McCarthy then to the inside, and he's got a whole queue of cars behind him. He's got Dan Holland trying to follow him through as well. We'll be seeing Dan Holland in the new year when we start coverage of the brand new World Touring Car Series, brought to you by the same people who bring you, of course, the World GT Series that we cover on RaceSpotTV. So that's one of the names that you'll be seeing in that championship, along with Mikel Garcia as well. He's taking part in that championship, so getting quite a few people getting a bit of practice for that series. But quite frankly, never mind the practice, this is just really good fun racing that you can have here.
They're going to have to beat a certain Paul Smith in that Touring Car Championship as well. That's just not very cricket, is that? Forces the RSRG Performance car wide, and he's going to drop outside of the top 10.
Yeah, dropping all the way down then to, what, 11th place then, Roseborough. It's just the slightest of contact when you're on the brakes there. The weight is over the front of the car. Holland, does he hit the wall on the inside of Woodcote? I do believe he did, or he was close to. Either way,
I think he did. You just saw the way the car spat off to the left-hand side. That was peculiar. You do want to cut as much of the distance as possible. That's what we've seen before. This is the RaceSpotTV replay, and just late on the brakes, not much the RSR car could do. Feel bad for Brandon Roseborough. Still got some time to try and fight his way back up through the field. Yeah, we've not even reached the halfway point of the race. Spencer McCarthy now on the lights. He's not happy about something as we're going too wide. James Holman and Spencer McCarthy. Holman's been turned on the straight. Well, what on earth has happened? He's going to come right across everybody. My goodness, how did they avoid that? Tremendous awareness from drivers to keep out of the way. Here we are, down the Wellington Straight. This should not be happening. I think he clears himself. I don't even think the geodesic car was moving rightwards. I think just aggressively trying to cover off the move. That's what we saw, that battle for the lead, and more contact. Around goes Hussein. And that means that Will Redford now is in the lead, and Bradbury, well, he's trying to get himself to the front because he now has the opportunity in towards Maggots and Beckett. No, it's not going to happen for the time being. It's Audi, Hyundai, Audi at the front of the field. Hussein will be feeling aggrieved by that down at turn number 1 at Copse Corner. But now these two are going to start fighting here. We're just past the halfway point of this race. And what did I say earlier? If you're Bradbury, wait for the opportunity. And guess what? The opportunity presented itself, and Bradbury was there to pound. Here's the contact, though, through turn 1. Already bumping on the entry to the corner. Almost looks like what we saw between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. Redford just runs a little bit wide because of the front wheel nature of these cars. Understeering a bit wide. Hussein, the big loser in the situation. I know this is touring car racing, guys, but, you know, it's not rallycross where you push people out of the way. You know, rubbing is racing, but punting people is quite another thing as well. They take a very wide exit through Copse Corner then to both Bradbury and Redford. Hussein, he is hanging on at the moment. You can see that mid-pack on the right-hand side of his screen. Look at them. It's just one long queue of traffic from 4th all the way to 17th. James Holman, he can just be thinking, let's have a big accident in front of me and I can jump up pretty much into the top 4. And because Hussein is still in the draft, I suspect that he will close. So he's not out of the mix for the victory here. 3rd and 4th separated by about 3 and a bit seconds. It's 4 seconds between 4th and the leader. So all of this fighting, like I said earlier, great to see. Not good when it comes to the timesheet. No, certainly not. Our timing table is struggling to keep up. Mark Garcia is the latest one to drop down to 17th. He's an incident. He's off the track.
Yeah, so Mikel Garcia. Oh, there's a car returning to the track. Oh, no, that's not a safe rejoin. Connery would be having kittens about that right now.
You stole the words out of my mouth.
Well, here's the battle for the lead, and you're right, because look at Hussein. Your leader, Bradbury, Ted Bradbury, is holding up Will Redford, and Hussein, he smells blood. He wants revenge on what Redford did to him.
And this is what we love about TCR. Samuel Aurora calls it totally chaotic racing. What have we seen today? Totally chaotic racing to the inside for the lead.
Oh, Hussein from nowhere. Look at that move. My goodness, he came from downtown there and takes second place. I mean, talk about taking advantage of the situation. My goodness, that is a brave, brave move into Brooklands from Hussein. So the three at the front then, it is Will Redford, Naveed Hussein and Ted Bradbury. They've then got a big, big gap back to Dan Holland, who now leads that queue of traffic in that second group as we look down from upon high. There's your leaders, big 4-second gap, and as we zoom on in, wow. My goodness, these three are certainly giving us some excitement in the mid-pack. They're just giving us the encore, really.
How did Hussein get that one stopped in time? I am still in shock, as now Redford will duck and dive, try and break the toe that we've seen be strong enough to bring Hussein back into the battle. These two have come together before. We saw them bumping and banging, dooring each other on the pit straight the last time that they were fighting this close. Hussein lost out last time. I don't think he's going to be in the position on the outside again. There's more contact there, just about holding on.
And that's the different lines there. So Hussein was hugging the apex there like it was his favourite grandmother, whereas Redford, he was trying to V off Luffield. You could take either of those lines and either will work. Hussein just getting on the brakes there, realising no, now's not the time to make the move. You can see how close they are. Well, there's an abuse of track limits if I ever saw one. And bumping once again, getting into the rear bumper. Hussein onto the brakes. Redford, you don't want to make that move too early around here, but you can defend around here as well. So Hussein really needs to make some moves sooner rather than later as we reach the final 3 minutes of this race.
And Bradbury's got the double drafts. We've seen how strong that can be in terms of building the momentum. Will he be brave under the brakes? That really is the question. You saw him trying to set up the run onto the Wellington straight. Not this time around. I believe that we are going to have 3 laps after this one. So 3 more opportunities for Hussein, for Bradbury, but can Will Redford hold them off? I don't think he can.
Well, the Iron Brew car, we saw it last week at Knockhill in this time split race. We're seeing it again right up at the front of your field. Look at how close Hussein is right here. This is absolutely brilliant to see. Now is Hussein, is he going to push his way through? Well, he's looking to the outside of Beckett's, try and get the cutback maybe through Beckett's here, try and get the run down the Wellington Straight, of course named after the World War II bombers that used to take off from Silverstone. Hussein, he did get a bit of a run, and that Audi does have a little bit more top speed than the Hyundai. Switching sides, looking to the inside. That is Hussein on Redford, and Hussein, he's done it once before and he's done it again. Back up to the lead.
I think Redford wanted no part of that one. I think once he saw the dive to the inside, he didn't fight that too hard. You'll have 2 more bites at the apple to try and get the race lead away. The race may be decided on the final lap through the final corner. We'll wait and see as across the line these cars come. You can see behind, they're still 3 seconds back, but that fight is great. Spencer McCarthy, what a recovery drive from him. He's back up to 4th and leading that second train of cars.
There is less than half a second covering 1st to 3rd place right here. You can almost throw a sheet over the 3 of these cars. They are so close together. And look at Redford up to the rear bumper of Hussein now. Down the Wellington Straight, that Hyundai having to get into the slipstream. Hussein, he is staying to the far left of the track. He does not want to give Redford the inside line into Brooklands. Moves out wide, wants to reach Brooklands. Hussein, he does get it stopped, but runs a bit wide, but that's only going to give Redford the outside line through Luffield. And if Bradbury's keen, he can get involved in this, but I think, just a little bit of contact between the 2 of them. Redford ends up in the gravel, Bradbury goes through, and Hussein is now leading to start this final lap.
That was a bit F1. That was a bit of my corner racing from Hussein there. Had the inside, ran Redford off of the road. Again, these are front-wheel drive cars, so they always will tend to push, and if you're a driver that wants to race as clean as possible, you'll take that into consideration. Hussein, though, has seen enough. He knows it's 1 lap to go. He's fighting for the win.
Down through Brooklands, through Beckett's once again for the final time then, onto the Wellington Straight. Bradbury, though, Yeah, he's got the opportunity here as Ted. Hussein's going very, very defensive with the weaving down the straight. He's not close enough as Toe, is he? Looking to the inside of Brooklands. Hussein has to get out of it. Side by side, there's contact between the two of them. Even more contact into Luffield, and here comes Redford to the inside of Luffield. Bradbury has a controversial lead, and it's going to be close for second place. Redford's not done with this one either, as they reach the final checkered flag of the race, and it is going to be Ted Bradbury who wins this one. My goodness, less than 1/10 of a second between him and Will Redford. Naveed Hussein finishes in third. Take a breath, everybody, because that was an exciting end to that race.
And what a way to kick off, or send off 2021 and bring in the new year, the final race on RaceSpotTV, and what a finish. 0.08 of a second between first and second place there. Ted Bradbury returned the favor to Naveed Hussein from a couple of laps before. Watch this send down the inside. This wasn't as clean as when Hussein did it, but Hussein was not going to give this up without a fight, and Bradbury bullies his way through.
Yeah, that's not leaving space to the other car on the outside. In fact, Bradbury wasn't even staying on the track, and then, well, Redford says, oh, well, thank you very much. I'll get that second place then from that one, but my goodness, Bradbury, aggressive is a word I would use. I think, you know, you've got to leave space to the car on the outside, but he'll take the win anyway. I feel that after that one, if a few people send in reports, I think Nim and his team might be a little bit busy after that race. But let's give you the results here then after 15 laps of racing. It is Ted Bradbury then who wins this one, as Arjuna said, by 0.08 of a second. Just a couple of tenths behind him was Naveed Hussein in third place. All that fighting allowed Spencer McCarthy to catch up to be just about a second off of the race leaders. Fourth place for him. Dan Holland fifth ahead of Will Orton. Brandon Roseborough in seventh place ahead of William McIntyre. Will Eatwell in ninth, and Thomas Gibson rounding out your top 10. Jorge Zuniga is in 11th place ahead of Blake Neck. James Holman and Stephen Daly 13th and 14th, with Julian Ignacio Longo in 15th place ahead of Will Fox, who of course had that contact early on in the race and drops down to 16th place. Jake Ward and Mikel Garcia are the final two on the race results there. We're having a look at that last lap again here, Arjuna. I mean, that is certainly an exciting end to a race.
I said it's not cricket before. I will say that again. Bradbury doesn't stay on the track. To me, that is not the way that you want to win a race. Yes, it got him the win. I would also put a counterpoint, though, on this one. Will Redford, if not for what happened the last lap coming through that very same corner, he might have been in that prime position. Bradbury would have had to bully his way, not past one, but two cars. I think Redford is going to be feeling slightly aggrieved at how this race went, but second place, can't be too disappointed. Watch on board with him.
Yep, so here we are then. He's seen these two fighting and rubbing his hands with glee. Then he sees the contact and Redford goes, do you know what? Oh, let's look to the inside here. I've got the inside now. That's at least second place. If I get a good run, which he did do, Redford gets the inside line blocked off, and at that point you know that you've got no chance of making it past. But my goodness, well, drama, excitement, chaos, I mean, that's what you want on a Friday night, isn't it?
If the timing line was where they started the race, Paul, I think Redford would have won that. He had the momentum, and the timing line is quite early on that pit straightaway. I think Redford could have had the win if things had just changed a little bit slightly in that timing line for him.
It wasn't the cleanest of moves. I think it's safe to say that. Personally, I wouldn't be happy if I won that way, but these drivers are ultra competitive here. And well, heading into the new year then, we will see Knockhill Reverse being next week's race. I mean, Knockhill last week was exciting enough. Seeing that in reverse is going to be tremendous to see. Then we head to Long Beach on the 14th of January. Summit Point, then the 21st of January. Second half of the season, it's Watkins Glen, then Oran Park, with Lime Rock Donington National, Alton Park, and then Laguna Seca finishing off the season. This one. Well, Arjuna, thank you so much for joining myself, Paul Smith, here in commentary. It's certainly been an exciting and dramatic way to end the 2021. From everybody here at RaceSpotTV, with Hugo Luis behind the scenes on the production as well, we want to wish you all a happy new year, and well, let's enjoy our racing in 2022. Goodbye.